Hi everyone, in this video I want to go through this question. So we have a function which is cos x over 1 minus sine x, and we want to find the domain of this function. So first of all, the domain of a function is the set of all x values for which the function is defined. So in this function, basically, whenever we have a function and we want to find its domain, the best strategy is to find all the x values for which the function is undefined, and therefore you can say that the domain of the function is basically is the set of real numbers that excludes all these values that makes the function undefined. Now in this function, the only possibility of making this function undefined is when the denominator is 0, or specifically what we mean is the only case that this function is undefined is when 1 minus sine x is equal to 0, right? Because we don't want the denominator to be 0. So now we find for which values of x the denominator is going to be 0, and therefore the final answer is going to be the real number, the set of real number that excludes all these values that make the denominator 0. So now we just need to solve this trigonometric equation. So we can rearrange that. We have sine x is equal to 1, and so the answer of this is going to be x is equal to, basically we just take the inverse of both sides of the equation, sine inverse of both sides, and we will have sine inverse of 1 on the other side, and then this gives us pi over 2. X is equal to pi over 2, but there's something that you should remember, that sine is a periodic function and its period is 2 pi, which means basically the value repeats every 2 pi. So therefore, if we want to write down the solution of the equation, we need to add to n pi, where n is just an integer. So basically, yes, this is something important that we should be aware of, because this means that the value of the function repeats every 2 pi, and this n here is just a multiple, and it just means for any 2 pi, for example, for 1 2 pi or 2 pi's and so on. So it's just in a general way. So just to write that down, just to remember, if you don't already, so note that sine x plus 2 pi is equal to sine x. So what does this mean? This is just what I was saying. So this is about the period of sine, which means that the sine is a periodic function with a period of 2 pi, which means their values repeat every 2 pi. So this is just something that to be aware of. And finally, we now need to write down the final answer, because remember, we need to write down the domain. So, and these values that we have now are the values that that can make the denominator 0. Make the denominator 0. So we need to basically exclude them from the set of real numbers. So thus, the domain of f of x is basically all the x values in the set of real numbers except pi over 2 plus 2 n pi, where n is in z. So basically this just this means the whole thing I have written is that the domain of this function is all the real numbers except those x values that satisfy this condition. Basically are can be one of these cases that pi over 2 plus 2 n pi is satisfied, and this is also z. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for the future videos.